Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is from Canto 2, Chapter 8, in Text 6. We're fortunate this morning to have His Grace Vishnugada Prabhu from ISKCON, Philadelphia, to give the class. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Ancha kalpatarubhyascha, vipasindubhyevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, devotees, if you can, you're welcome to unmute yourself, unless you're in the work or someplace like that, so we can chant the Jaya Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari.
Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Vana Chari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vana Chari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari.
Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vadajanarangana
Yamunatiravanachari
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 Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtotara Sata Shishimar Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai
Jai
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai
Jai
ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Jai
Naam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai
Jai
Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai
Jai
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai
Jai
Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai
Jai
Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai
Jai
Ganga Mai Ki Jai
Jai
Jamuna Mai Ki Jai
Jai
Tulsi Devi Ki Jai
Jai
Bhakti Devi Ki Jai
Jai
Shama Veta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai
Jai
Gaur Premanande
Hari Hari Bol
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Reading, studying, discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 8th chapter, 6th verse. Dhautātmā puruṣaḥ Kṛṣṇa pāda-mūlaṁ na muñcati mukta-sarva-parikleśaḥ pānthaḥ sva-śaraṇaṁ yathā. Dhautātmā puruṣaḥ Kṛṣṇa pāda-mūlaṁ na muñcati mukta-sarva-parikleśaḥ pānthaḥ sva-śaraṇaṁ yathā. Dhautātmā puruṣaḥ Kṛṣṇa pāda-mūlaṁ na muñcati mukta-sarva-parikleśaḥ pānthaḥ sva-śaraṇaṁ yathā. Please chant.
Dhautātmā puruṣaḥ Kṛṣṇa pāda-mūlaṁ namuñcati mukta-sarva-parikleśaḥ pānthaḥ sva-śaraṇaṁ yathā. Hare Krishna.
धौतात्मा पुरुषः कृष्ण पादमूलं न मुञ्चति मुक्तसर्वपरिक्लेशः पान्थ स्वशरणं यथा. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण. धौतात्मा पुरुष कृष्ण पादमूलं न मुञ्चति mukta-sarva-parikleśaḥ, pānthaḥ sva-śaraṇaṁ yathā. Hare Krishna.
Oh, you don't like the tune I used, huh? Sarvanga Sundar Damodar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. I'm sorry. I just got that tune in the head, and that's why I kept
I
going with
know
it.
that happens. It happens. Okay. Synonyms: dhautātmā, whose heart has been cleansed; puruṣaḥ, the living being; Kṛṣṇa, the supreme personality of Godhead; pāda-mūlaṁ, the shelter of the lotus feet; never; muñcati, gives up; mukta, liberated; sarva, all; parikleśaḥ, of all miseries of life; pānthaḥ, the traveler; sva-śaraṇaṁ, in his own abode; yathā, as it were. Translation: a pure devotee of the Lord, whose heart has once been cleansed by the process of devotional service, never relinquishes the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, for they fully satisfy him, as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. Sarvanga Sundar Damodar Prabhu. Can you read the purport? Would you mind? Or is you busy there? Oh, I guess not. How about Dear Krishna Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Yes, yes.
One who is not a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord Krishna is not completely cleansed in the heart, but a perfectly cleansed person never quits the devotional service of the Lord. In discharging such devotional service, as ordered by Brahmaji to Narada in the preaching of Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes a representative of the Lord engaged in preaching work meets various so called difficulties. This was exhibited by Lord Nityananda when he delivered the two fallen souls, Jagai and Madhai, and similarly, Lord Jesus Christ was crucified by the non believers. But such difficulties are very gladly suffered by the devotees in preaching because in such activities, although apparently very severe, the devotees of the Lord feel transcendental pleasure because the Lord is satisfied. Prahlad Maharaj suffered greatly, but still he never forgot the lotus feet of the Lord. This is because a pure devotee of the Lord is so purified in his heart that he cannot leave the shelter of Lord Krishna in any circumstances. There is no self interest in such service. The progress of culturing knowledge by the Gyanis or the bodily gymnastics by the yogis are ultimately given up by the respective performers. But a devotee of the Lord cannot give up the service of the Lord, for he is ordered by his spiritual master. Pure devotees like Narada and Nityanand Prabhu take up the order of the spiritual master as the sustenance of life. They do not mind what becomes the future of their lives. They take the matter very seriously, as the order comes from the higher authority, from the representative of the Lord, or from the Lord Himself. The example set herein is very appropriate. A traveler leaves home to search for wealth in far distant places, sometimes in the forest, and sometimes on the ocean, and sometimes on hilltops. Certainly, there are many troubles for the traveler when he is in such unknown places. But all such troubles are at once mitigated as soon as the sense of his family affection is remembered. And as soon as he returns home, he forgets all such troubles on the way. A pure devotee of the Lord is exactly in a family tie with the Lord, and therefore he is undeterred in discharging his duty in a full, affectionate tie with the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear Krishna Prabhu. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kata Mahyam Tadati Cha Pandantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I speak, I'd like to ask the permission and blessings of all devotees, and particularly those who may be senior by age and or advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So this is a beautiful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the beautiful descriptions of the activities and the pastimes of the Lord with his devotees. And in the Sanskrit, if we look at the Sanskrit a little bit at the top there, that first word is dhautātmā, dhautātmā. So that word dhauta means cleansed. I look it up on, sometimes when you have these verses, and I'm not so familiar with that word dhauta. So I did a search in the database and see where other verses or contexts it's used. And dhautātmā, usually it's used when you're talking about a clean cloth. For example, when Diti, the wife of one of the wives of Kashyapa Muni, was doing a ritual to facilitate the death of Indra, and she was performing different rituals, and it was important for her to, in the morning, take bath, then put on dhautavas, clean cloth, dhautavas, without any spots, no spots, no soil. And when Queen Princess Rukmini was before her being kidnapped by Krishna, she went to the temple of Ambika, and there, before entering, she washed her feet, her lotus feet, and therefore the verse was dhautāpada, washing the lotus feet, dhauta, cleaning the lotus feet. So this pure devotee who has engaged thoroughly, fully in devotional service, their heart becomes spotlessly clean. And so what is a pure devotee? Srila Prabhupada mentions there in the purport that this is a person who has no self-interest. Or in the words of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabhilashita shunyam. Abhilash means desires, and anya, other desires, shunyam, completely freed from other desires. What are those other desires? Jnana, karma, dhyanavritam, with desires for material, speculative knowledge, or fruitive results, getting a big bank balance, a beautiful partner, prestige in society. Jnana karma anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti ruttama. And serving Krishna faithfully, that's called pure devotional service, or bhakti uttama. So what are those? What is that dirt on the mind, on the heart, that is being cleansed here? That actually each one of us are intrinsically, by nature, clean and pure, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Pure. Just as a drop of water has the same quality as the ocean, or a spark from a fire has the same shiny quality as the fire, but because it's small, it tends to get extinguished. So our shining eternal spiritual quality is never extinguished, but it is covered. And what is that covering? What is that grime that's been accumulated on our hearts, on our consciousness, for hundreds and hundreds of years? That's epitomized by ahankara, the false understanding of who we are, false conception of who we are. We think I am a person, a member of a certain nation, a member of a certain family, a member of a certain political party, a member of a certain profession. Primarily, we think of these things, that's our primary identity, forgetting that our actual position is that we're eternal servants of Krishna. Jiver Svarup Hoy, Krishna Nitya Krishna Das. Lord Chaitanya said that the soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, and that goes on always. Then, because that's where the delusion starts, that we're thinking we're a product primarily of this material energy, the physical body. And from that misconception or delusion, there's so many other delusions follow. We are thinking then, since we're this physical body, that the purpose of life is to make the body very comfortable and satisfied, or along with the bodies and physical bodies of our kith and kin, or our compatriots, or like that. And that's our mission in life. And even though we see all around us, people are trying hard, struggling to do the same thing, and never being successful, still we endeavor quite faithfully, hoping against hope, that we'll be the person who arrives at perfect peace and satisfaction on the basis of satisfying the physical body. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because the happiness that we derive by satisfying the senses of the body is limited, and there's a satiation point beyond which the continued attempts for satisfaction do not yield good results. How many sweets can you eat? How many gulab-jamuns can you have? Or whatever the material gratification is. It reaches a point where no more you can enjoy. Sometimes people they eat a certain kind of food overwhelmingly too much, and then later they become disgusted with that same food. Because the happiness on the material plane is limited, and it reaches very quickly reaches a satiation point. And because of that, from lust comes the desire for sense gratification that doesn't work. So then there becomes envy and greed come out. Greed just means I want more and more, because the things that I've already done don't work. I'll need to accumulate more and more, hoping that that will make me happy. So a devotee who's coming to the point of being aware of Krishna consciousness, he or she understands this system that's working in the material world. When Lord Kṛṣṇa was asked by Arjuna, what is it that makes a person continue to act in a materialistic, sinful way again and again, almost as if it's by force? So Lord Kṛṣṇa responds, perhaps you remember the verse, Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhava. It's a lust only that continues to induce the living entity to wallow in the material world and the material satisfaction, dirtying oneself again and again. And it later transforms into wrath, which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. So thus, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied. Like I said, it's never satiated, and it burns like fire. So this is our position in the material world. And there's a prayer, a very nice prayer that Srila Prabhupada used to quote quite often. Kamadi nam katina katidha patita durnidesha. I don't know if you recall that prayer. It's a beautiful prayer. It says, "Oh my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me, and I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up." This person is praying as a conditioned soul. "Oh my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I'm going to give them up. Due to some transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me." So this is the attitude of the devotee in devotional service. As Prabhupada said, that no self-interest. And this is tough. You won't find this anywhere in the material world, because everybody in the material world is working for some material self-interest. But the devotee, he or she works for the satisfaction of Krishna. Atmendriya priti vancha thare bole kam, Krishnendriya priti icha dhare prema nam. Prema Vivarta says that working for the satisfaction of the senses, one's own senses, that's called kama, lust. But Krishnendriya priti, working for the satisfaction of Krishna, desiring to do that, that's called prema, love. Or paraphrased from one of our presidents of the United States, taking some license to adjust his words, ask not what Krishna can do for you. Ask what you can do for Krishna. So this verse is wonderfully explaining the effects and the potency of devotional service, and particularly pure devotional service. This is the detergent that cleanses the heart that has become soiled and grimy for millions and millions of years because of involvement in lusty, materially absorbed activities. Just like when you have a dirty pot, the more the dirt is caked on, the harder you have to scrub. The soot is caked on, the harder you have to scrub, and effort you have to give to take it off. So you can imagine our hearts have been accumulating grime, soot, and dust for millions of years. We need a very, very powerful detergent, cleansing agent to clean the heart from all those dirty things, dhautātmā, not dhautātmā, but dirty atma. So Lord Chaitanya has so kindly given us this process of Krishna consciousness to with the very powerful detergent of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that its first business is it cleans the heart from the dirty things of our life. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nivapanam shreya kairava chandri karijam vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhi bardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swaranam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And in this verse, we see this word pariklesha. You know the word klesha. There's kleshas from adi-atmic klesha, adi-bhautik klesha, and adi-daivik klesha. You know these words? In this world, there's always some misery coming forward, either from one's own body and mind, from other living entities, or from natural disturbances given by the demigods. Adi-daivik, adi-atmic is body and mind, adi-bhautik, kleshas. So this verse says, pariklesha. Pariklesha, the prefix pari means all kinds of. Just like in the verse tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So it means the prashna means questions, and pariprashna means all kinds of questions. All kinds of questions. You can ask the spiritual master. That's the attitude. In a humble spirit, surrender and ask questions. Or there's the word parivrajak acharya, an acharya who parivrajak goes everywhere, all around. Or parikrama, going all around the tulsi tree or the temple, round and round, everywhere. So this pariklesha, all those kleshas, all the kleshas you might experience are mitigated by the process of devotional service, chanting the holy names of Krishna and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a very wonderful, beautiful system that Srila Prabhupada set up for the Hare Krishna movement in all our temples, that regularly, every day, there's a hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other literatures in the Vedic line, and the regular chanting of the holy names of God. And by that process, the heart will become cleansed of those misconceptions that I am this physical body, that material happiness is my real goal of life. And one will become, first symptom of that is one becomes happy. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na shochiti na kankshati. One becomes happy because one realizes one's eternal nature, spiritual nature. And when one comes to that platform, hankering and lamenting on the material platform become very insignificant because they have nothing to do with our real identity or our real mission in life. So then Srila Prabhupada mentions, and the verse says that just like a person who's coming home after a long journey feels satisfied with the family, similarly, a devotee who's cleansed his heart, his or her heart, they feel as if they've gone home because they've connected completely with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their eternal home, in their eternal home. That's one of the reasons we have this magazine called Back Home, Back to Godhead. It's our real home. Home is where the heart is. And if our heart is with Lord Kṛṣṇa, then naturally, that's the natural condition of the soul. Our real home is there, and we'll become fully satisfied with our position. So in the Nectar Devotion, it says that the only means to attain Krishna is devotional service. It's so attractive that attracts even Krishna himself. So such a wonderful opportunity that we have to engage in Krishna service now that we have this human form of life and a few years perhaps left to engage in that activity. So what kind of services can we do? Of course, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra regularly is really one of the essential matters of devotional service, especially in Kali Yuga. And there are 9 kinds of devotional service one can do. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Shakyam, Atmanivedanam. And one has a choice. You can choose one, or you can choose all of them or a few of them, and all of them will be especially beneficial for making progress in spiritual life. But Jiva Goswami says that before and after any other process of devotional service, chanting the holy names is the most important thing to make the other processes of devotional service effective. Hare Krishna. Anyway, those are some points and ideas on this verse. I know we have some time. Perhaps we could have a discussion or ask some questions, or what do you think?
Hare Krishna, devotees. So thank you very much for giving such a nice class. Devotees, you can unmute yourself now if you have questions, or if you have some realizations from this class that you would like to share with us, or some takeaways for what was mentioned earlier to share with us also, please do that. Unmute yourself. Hare Krishna. I think I would start off by saying just a comment that
Okay, great.
from the translation directly, that the pure devotee whose heart has been cleansed by the process of devotional service never leaves the Lord's lotus feet. That's all that they want to do. If we have that type of attitude, then we are literally home free because we are with Krishna then the whole way through.
Your
So
life has become successful, yes.
Yeah.
So we got to get that. We want to get that taste of Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
And I was also thinking actually earlier that Krishna, when we hear about Krishna more, every day especially, we get to know the nature of Krishna better. It just comes in bits by bit by bit, verse by verse by verse. You begin to get a bigger picture of who Krishna is, and it's very exciting once you get to know like that and keep going.
Yeah.
It's also another thing I was thinking.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Mm.
Yeah, so if we actually have a taste for that unlimited happiness that's coming through from the spiritual world, when the connection, why would you want to give it up? Why would you want to? No. But unfortunately, we haven't developed our taste sufficiently. Lord Chaitanya says in the Shikshastika prayers, oh, my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction upon the living beings.
Mm.
Therefore, you have hundreds and millions of names. But unfortunately, as unfortunate as I am, I have no attraction for them. I have no taste. And then the very next verse in Shikshastika, he says, you can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street, more talented than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, you can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So he's giving us a hint. Oh, a previous verse is saying, I have no taste. But in order to chant the holy name constantly, you got to have taste, isn't it? If you want to chant it constantly, you got to have taste. And Krishna says it also in Bhagavad Gita. So what are the symptoms of a devotee, of a Mahatma? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Always chanting my glories. So what's the key? What's the key to getting that taste? Mm. Learning to becoming humble, and becoming humble to approach the Lord. Please, please, please engage me in your service. Oh Lord, please. I'm a very, very tiny, small, insignificant person. I've been involved in material activities so many lifetimes. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and fix me as an atom at your feet. Mother Anasuya wrote something. What is that?
Yeah, says Hare Krishna Prabhu that she's a little bit under the weather, so she can't speak for me.
Okay.
Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking that many Srila Prabhupada disciples may not have had the opportunity of asking questions as much as they want to Srila Prabhupada. How did all of you ground yourself so strongly in Krishna consciousness?
A really good question, Mother Anasuya. Thank you. And, it's a good point that, like when I was a new devotee, devotees did write letters to Srila Prabhupada. I didn't write I never wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada because, well, anytime somebody got a letter, everybody would gather around and we'd read it and it'd be exciting. But at a certain early point, the GBC in New York where I was said, Prabhupada doesn't want so many letters. Stop writing letters, which really wasn't true. But the Prabhupada said something like that, but he always open for letters. But anyway, the it was important for me to be able to ask devotees, senior devotees that I trusted, and they would quote from Srila Prabhupada. They would make stuff up. And uh, I accepted that as good as Srila Prabhupada, and it was true. It was as good as Srila Prabhupada because they repeated what he said. It was, that was a big deal that people would always cite verses or things that Srila Prabhupada said from letters or from uh, classes or from conversations to back up what they were saying. And that gave me faith, whatever little faith I have, in continuing in Krishna consciousness. So hearing from my esteemed God brothers, or senior God brothers especially, but all God brothers and God sisters too. Those days, there was a period in ISKCON where not too many Vaishnavis gave class. Now that's over. But at one point, when I first joined, Vaishnavis would give class maybe out of 7 days, probably 2 or 3 days a week. And then, so that's interesting. Both God brothers, God sisters. What do you think?
what I picked up from some of the lectures, recorded lectures, at the time when Srila Prabhupada was giving lectures, um, just a sense of the enthusiasm that was there. I don't know, maybe this is, and in the end, I'll phrase it into a question so you can explain. But what I was picking up was that after the speaker, or the first person that was, I think it was Mr. Pradimya, or somebody was repeating the verse, was saying the verse, the devotees were repeating it, line by line, so on. And then after that, anybody could also repeat the verse. And it sounded like there was competition going on.
Oh yeah, sure.
It seemed like as soon as somebody finishes, the person joins in the very next split second to also try to get to the best. And sometimes it was a clash with two devotees all starting to speak at the same time. And then there's somebody that outlasts the other one. And this is how I'm thinking about it as I'm hearing this. And got to the point where Shri Prabhupada would stop the men and said, ladies, then they also preach, and then they go on. So it looked like there was a lot of enthusiasm. I just wanted you to comment about it because you probably were sitting there in some of those situations. You actually
Yeah, sure.
personally.
There was always competition. There was always little competition. Part of that, I mean, it probably was stronger when Srila Prabhupada was personally present in the temple, and part of that was when chanting the verses, one had an opportunity to get Srila Prabhupada's attention. Oh, there were certain devotees who would lead the kirtan. It was set. So there are
Mm,
a few, very few devotees were kind of authorized. Not it wasn't like you know very formal, but in New York there was Bharadwaj and some other Bharadwaj and some other devotees who would Parikshit would lead the kirtans. Later, I got to start leading kirtans later, but but at the time of the Srimad Bhagavatam class, yeah, anybody could chime in, and okay, that was their opportunity to get Prabhupada's attention, and it
mm.
was enthusiastic, yes.
Okay. There's another comment, the question for answer here on the chat. It says, now we have many gurus and senior devotees, and disciples have the opportunity to take advantage, but they don't take advantage of asking questions and no guidance. It's the other way around. How can we become grounded in our Krishna consciousness? I mean, given that situation that's in now, is it
Well,
impossible at all?
you're doing a wonderful job having classes, and and other kinds of things. I mean, the classes are usually a little more formal, and
Mhm.
when classes are formal, there's some people who will feel a little bit shy to ask questions in a formal uh, environment. Whereas,
Mhm.
if the more other kinds of activities you have where it's less formal, sometimes it gives people the opportunity, devotees the opportunity to ask questions in a more confidential or more not public way that they may have.
Mm.
Therefore, we have in the Upadeshamrita, Dadati, Pritiginnati, Guyamakati, Prichtiti, Bhunkte Bojayate, Chayava, Shadvidhim, Pritilakshanam. The, the exchange of love between devotees is giving prasadam, accepting prasadam, giving gifts, accepting gifts, and revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially. So that's one. And then, of course, another thing that was done was also we would have regular ishtagosti. You probably know
Mm.
ishtagosti. It's technically it's not a gripe session. People sometimes were worried that we have get everybody together they'll attack us sometimes, but really it's to talk about spiritual topic. Ishta means the Supreme Lord. Goshti, talking about the Supreme Lord. Yeah, let's talk about how we can understand the Krishna conscious philosophy, not only out there, but also how it applies to our life a little more in detail. And that
Mm.
so sometimes that kind of atmosphere is there. That environment can be helpful to allow us to be a little more free in our understanding or questioning about aspects of devotional service that we may not be clear about. What is that? What do
Mm.
others think? What do others think?
Anybody can unmute themselves? Yeah, do this, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Yes, Prabhuji, I think that sharing of heart, I mean, everybody might not be comfortable. I know initially when I joined, I was not very comfortable asking questions in the public because no, feeling I don't know enough. And In addition to the topics of course, Krishna consciousness, I think what in my experience, little bit experience, I think it is very very important to expose ourselves to at least couple of people with whom we have trusting relationship. Um that helps a lot, a lot actually. Exposing ourselves, talking about our weaknesses, our mistakes, very honest conversation. Of course, we cannot do with everybody, only with people we trust. Uh, that is my sharing, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Right. Thank you, dear Krishna. And even though you were so shy or was uncomfortable, now you've done very well, in my opinion. You've made good progress. You're quite a learned person, devotee, in my
Thank you,
view.
Prabhu, for your comments. But I know
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
it's a long way to go.
yeah.
Thank
Still,
you,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So okay, but yeah. So those
It's
are
all,
those are.
it's always a long way to go. The more books you read, the more you realize how little you know.
Well, you
Krishna's unlimited.
gotta reach home, back to Godhead, right? Back home, back.
And
But
it's
at
just,
least, yeah, we are sure we are on the right track at least. So thank you for
Yeah,
your association. Always encouragement, Prabhu. Your association and your presence gives us a lot of hope and encouragement. Thank you, honestly. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. I was
very,
thinking another thing is that, of course, this is not a commercial for giving donations or anything like that. Just so you know ahead of time, I have nothing to do with that. But you know, used to be in temples, we would everybody was working, without any salary or anything like that. Practically everybody was in that situation. Now, of course, most people they have some kind of they're working hard, an occupation outside temples, and it's really important that one jagyartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Uh, if you work but you don't give something substantial, to the mission of Krishna consciousness, doesn't have to be this temple or that temple or anything, but to sacrifice a certain a good amount to Krishna's service, it'll bind one to the material world with the activities. So that same activity that one does in one's work can be a source of bondage or a source of liberation, depending on how the fruits are used. And of course, everybody has different means, different salaries and stuff like that. But at least uh, there should be some uh, sacrifice for the service of Krishna from that part too. And like I said, I'm not saying that because I have a particular I want to build a certain project or anything like that, but just it's a fact. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Unless work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise it binds you to the material world. It keeps one anchored in the material consciousness, and so using that same work used in the service of Krishna, either by doing some specific particular work according to your capacity or donating from the results of your work, that's a liberating. It helps one advance in Krishna consciousness too. It turns the karma into karma yoga or bhakti yoga. What's the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga? The only difference is the intensity of the focus on Krishna's pleasure, meditation on Krishna and focus, instead of in karma yoga, there's more of an emphasis on freeing oneself from karma. And in bhakti yoga, there's more of an emphasis on simply pleasing Krishna and focusing on meditating on Krishna. In bhakti yoga, there's 9 kinds of devotional service. You won't find that in karma yoga. Do you follow?
yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other comments, devotees, or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think Anusaya Mataji posted one more question.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. We were told that when we have trust issues with others, it is because we don't trust ourselves. And so it begins with us. How can we develop trust for themselves and with others to grow in Krishna consciousness? How can we develop trust? Does she mean develop trust for themselves or trust for ourselves? Well, anyway, trust for them.
How can we develop trust ourselves?
Well, it says we were told that when we have trust issues with others, it is because we don't trust ourselves. So it begins with us. So how can we develop trust? So I would think the question is the trust for ourselves rather than themselves. But anyway, she's free to correct it if it's what she meant to say.
Yeah, I think Prabhu.
It is. It is. It
Yes,
says
yes.
how do we develop trust for ourselves and with others to grow in Krishna consciousness? So it wasn't like ourselves then. Beginning with us and then with the others too.
What do you think?
So you wanted to okay, well, if you become honest, we make honesty a priority, we will develop trust in ourselves. This dishonesty which makes us think that others we can't trust others with what we say. Then we try to
Why don't we trust us? What is the obstacle for trusting ourselves? Because we've not been able to continue done a particular service, or it depends on what the issue might be, I suppose. That blocks is an obstacle to trusting oneself. Say a person who's a drug addict, they have a difficulty because I'm not saying that anybody here is a drug addict, just so you know.
Yeah.
But they have a hard time trusting themselves because they know over time that at a drop of a hat they may rush out and get a fix. Well, how do you deal with that? The usual process is, and you keep really good association, and you talk about it. You talk about those things where. Oh, here's some more. It says this.
That's the dear Krishna.
Oh, okay.
That's the Krishna. So
yeah. So anyway, yeah. Talk about it. You keep strong association, and over time. I mean, on one hand, when a kid learns to walk, they fall a lot before they actually learn to walk. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, yeah, sometimes you make mistakes and you do stuff that's not good. But keeping in the association, taking continue to hear Krishna consciousness philosophy and activities, pastimes, that gradually will work. It does work. That's the first part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Sometimes there's setbacks for sure. So that's trusting oneself, keeping oneself in association, and doing things. For me, I can remember that the most fun in Krishna consciousness I have is when I'm engaged with other devotees and doing devotional service. It might be kirtan, it might be cooking, it might be some other, or organizing a festival or some kind of program. It's to work with other devotees is a joy, at least for me, because it gives you opportunity to work together and to see that everybody has some challenges, but let's help each other out. Some comment from me. That's all. What do you think?
I have a story that comes to mind.
Good. We like stories. We like stories.
It's controversial, but
okay.
But I'll still
Well,
talk
we're
about
adults
it.
here. We're
In
all
one
adults.
sense, especially since we don't mention any names anyway. So,
Yeah, sure.
so this was Vishnugada. And there was a roster for devotees to come in and cook for breakfast for the deities, and then of course prasadam for the devotees. And so there was, the whole everybody, the main one person comes in the kitchen, and that's their turn to make the breakfast. Wasn't so difficult. Quantity wasn't so much, so one person could handle it. But there was one particular devotee Mataji that would come in, and every time she comes in, because there'll be other people in the temple, then it's her turn to make the breakfast. But then she would say, Prabhu, you do this part. Prabhu, you do this. Prabhu, so what she's supposed to do, she spreads it among all the devotees. And after a while, people got to know that this person is making, it's kind of irking us a little bit because this is stuff that she could do, but she doesn't do it. She wants others to do it. And it's basically, she comes to supervise rather than actually do the work itself. Um, so on the one hand, you were talking about how you like very much to work with devotees. And then I thought about this other side to it, which is obviously, was irking devotees. What you're saying obviously is working together. So that's wonderful. And I'm not saying anything against it. But then when that thought came to mind, I started kind of laughing to myself because we had to go through this. And nobody wanted to tell her, but they were complaining though. That she was just kind of spreading everything that she could do. And the people are saying, but when we come, we cook ourselves, do what we're supposed to do. When she comes, she's just delegating, do this, do this, do this. And she just basically doesn't do much. I wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, well, I hear what you're saying. It's a good point. It's a good point. When Srila Prabhupada would do things, sometimes, he get all these devotees would come and naturally want to help out, right?
Mm.
So it's a natural thing if the person who's doing the service is appreciated by others, and people want to help out, they want to reduce. But if there's a sense that this person is trying to get out of their service and foist it on others, even though it's devotional service, it's not really foisting, but that can spoil the pot, or make it pot. So probably in that circumstance, it'd be a good idea just to have a talk. Let's talk about it. This is what's going on. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? People are sometimes, people saying you might be shirking your responsibility. If Srila Prabhupada got people involved like that, would they say that? Nah, everybody would be loving to work with Srila Prabhupada. But depending on a person's level of advancement or ability to connect with others and inspire others and encourage others, there's sometimes a feeling of we don't want to work together as much. And so how can we improve that? How can we improve the feeling of let's work together? We can talk about it, and they can learn better how to do it. And some people say, well, next time I have to finish my rounds. I'm not going to chant. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to finish my rounds. Well, how is that okay? And then they'll be back and forth.
Yeah. Actually, let me just add a little footnote to this, that this was a time in Gitanagari where we were all very new and very raw in Krishna consciousness. There was a lot of purification going on. It was just everybody's stuff was coming out at that time. So it was quite interesting. Quite a mix. Now the same people won't do the same things they did a couple of decades back. No way they'll do that. But at that time, we're a community and we have to do it. But it's Krishna's arrangement to put all of it so that you can deal with your stuff and improve. So that was what was going on. Anyway.
Yes. And sometimes we try to get one may try to get devotees involved and they just don't want to do it. And that's okay. That's okay. There's one time a devotee came to Mayapur and they wanted just to chant japa all day. And the administrating devotees, it was just not for always, but just during a month period or something like that. And the devotees, administrative devotees, complained to Srila Prabhupada. He just wants to chant. That's it. Chant and read, we'll say. And Prabhupada said, that's okay. That's okay. Just let him do it. Not for always, but for that short period of time. So, I remember once because there was a big Rath Yatra in 1976 in New York City. Next year will be the 50th anniversary of that first big Rath Yatra in New York City. Then the next year I was in charge of the cooking, and we had a cooking crew, and everybody was. I expected everybody to help out. We had to cook all night, but a couple of devotees, they said, "I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it," and it made me mad. But then I realized, hey, it's okay. People are doing their services. What can I do? We'll just, if they want to help out, that's wonderful. That's for them, and that's okay. And I learned from that a little bit, not much, a little bit, that everybody's going to do a certain amount of service, and I want to encourage people to do whatever services they're doing as much as possible. With some guidance and some things like that, but to encourage whatever service. I mean, devotees do service. It's a wonderful thing. Whatever service they're doing, even if it's a little bit, it's wonderful. So, I learned a little bit from that, perhaps, maybe, hopefully.
There's a couple more things in the chat. Dear Kṛṣṇa was saying, still when we're talking about a relationship, establishing relationship with other person might be like, marriage. It works out and we're lucky, or else how you go. You put it that way. So anyway, that's of course from his experience. And she also put down, when we serve together, it's so much fun that we forget about ourselves, and the focus is on the service, how to make it the best and please Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. Okay, so that was also
so nicely said. So nicely said. Yeah, great point. Great point. That's one of the wonders of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, that we have devotees to do service together. Otherwise, we'd be kind of lonely. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, nahi payabal harinam sankirtan. By myself, I'm not going to be able to go on with this Sankirtan movement.
Yeah.
Thank you for that nice comment, insightful comment.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, that is the attitude towards service. When we, working together in a very pleasing way, it's quite wonderful. It's quite wonderful, and that's the way.
Just as an I'll do a little advertisement. I was saying before I wasn't giving an advertisement. I did a little advertisement. We just finished a summer camp in Nilachaladam, which is a place by a devotee named Radharam, and it's on the border of Delaware and Maryland. He invited us to his property. It's 15-acre property, but we got 25 kids came. It was a wonderful time because there was such cooperation among the hosts and among the devotees who could participate. It was very, very wonderful experience for the kids and for the helpers too, the servants too.
Wonderful. So is that similar to the one you did the previous year in Gitanagri?
Yeah, it didn't work out this year in Gitanagri for a variety of reasons. But so this devotee, he heard that we didn't have a place in Gitanagri this year, so he offered, and so we did it. It was good. I'm thinking about a lot of different ways the temples can work together to do devotional service too. You got Philadelphia, you got Harrisburg. Maybe once in a while, the Philadelphia and Harrisburg, like you do a kirtan, and you invite devotees from different places like Philadelphia to your kirtan there in Harrisburg every few months, I think it is. It's a good plan. Good plan.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Any final questions from devotees? If not, then thank you very much for both coming on.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
God bless you, devotees.